how do you feel being in the workshop on a day like this?
I feel good. I feel energized, targeted. I feel very in the hot seat right now, and I feel like I'm ready to film some content.
What would you tell the old you in 10 years' time?
Don't stop working hard, listen to the people around you, and keep following the curve. Don't give up. Never give up.
Folks, this is Joel.
Never give up.
2021.
2021.
In the prime of his youth.
The prime of his youth. Doesn't get any better than this, guys. This is sad. If this is the best that we're gonna get, I guess we'll find out. Hey guys, welcome back to the IronCrown Workshop, and welcome to part 2 of our journey as we renovate and prepare this space for an upcoming series that we're going to be shooting here in the workshop. Very exciting. But come with me. Let's check out what we've been working on. We've got this wall here covered in steel, adding some aesthetic steely industrialness to the workshop. We have our forge here. We've added a range hood / shroud to catch our sparks and extended our table, and that is looking magnificent. And we've got some shelves that have been zhuzhed together by Connor and Gareth that are going to go up on that wall and display some pieces. It's going to be great. It's going to be fancy. It's going to be an excellent corner of our space for making some armor. Let's get stuck into part 2. Hey, so we already got started on our Firepot, on our air mechanism, and part of that was updating this Firepot here. What we had was something a lot deeper. And so what we had done is cut off that bottom section and weld on a piece of 10mm plate here with some holes for the air to pass through, updated the flange, and she sits nicely into the tabletop right there. Now, the reason we had to do that was because with the deeper Firepot, the hottest point of the fire was about halfway down inside of that whole chamber, and I couldn't get the steel that I needed into that spot and get it hot for forging. It's a bit of a problem. It kind of defeats the purpose of having a Firepot in the first place. So what started this whole air mechanism renovation is that with that tackled, we had to strip apart the old system anyways. This gave us the perfect reason to get stuck into updating the whole thing. Now, why are we actually updating the whole thing? Well, a couple of reasons. One, we like to be professional here at IronCrown Workshop. Once we get our toe in the door, we like to bust right on in and just conquer the whole thing with professionality.
Are we any closer, Joel?
We're getting there, definitely.
That means we'll be back in an hour. Failure is the way we learn about things in life, and before we can succeed with failure, we must first fail with success. If that makes sense.
I'm just trying to process some maths here, not philosophy, goodness me. The problem with the old system is that it took the air from this blower and just whacked it into the fire. That's all we needed it to do, at least at the start. But unbeknownst to us, it put too much air into the system. When we had sparks and ash, and it was like Pompeii. There was stuff raining down everywhere. So we're gonna put a plug in Mount Vesuvius by innovating a new mechanism for that system and come up with a solution for that very shortly. But first, I'm gonna chuck together what I've cut out already for the new system, marry it up with this Firepot and see how it's all fitting. The Firepot, we met this earlier, basically holds the fire, contains the charcoal that is being heated up and is also subsequently heating up our steel. There are holes at the bottom of our Firepot, which are then attached to the tweer, which is this section here. The reason for the tweer is that lots of charcoal dust and soot often falls through these holes in the Firepot, and we need a way to get rid of that without it clogging up our whole air system. So the bottom of the tweer is open, often with a door, to release any of that charcoal dust before it fills up. Attached to the tweer is the airflow piping, which connects our blower, which is secured to this plate, and this is where the air feeds into the system and up into our Firepot chamber. And this little bad boy here is part of the valve assembly. See, part of the problem with our forge earlier is that we had too much air. This chamber here is going to cut off the flow of air when we don't need any oxygen in the forge. But as soon as we need some of that juicy oxygen to feed our forge, we're just going to crack this chamber here and the air will flow on into our Firepot. We're gonna do that by having a sleeve which inserts into this chamber and slides up and down. It's a complex mechanism we're gonna have to problem solve later on. But with this air being extracted from the main flow, we need a place for that to go. And I've got an excellent idea that we can use the air for, but first we need to take this whole assembly, stick it in our forge, and see where everything is sitting. I'll tell you guys about that over there. Lamps coming through. She fits in, that's a start. $92. Okay, that might be lower than that. Oh, crap.
What are you looking for, Joel?
Just clarity in life. Just solutions to all my problems. Why does it have to be so hard, guys? I don't understand. Singing the songs.
Joel lives in a plot here.
Crazy, man. Shit. Trying to whip out the old mathematical brain.
Oh, Joel's reaching one of these moments. This is the part where I, hang out with a camera. Connor, because I'm the camera guy. Look about, are there any other angles I can get during this process? I mean, it's a mentally demanding job for the cameraman as much as the guy doing the actual work. Make sure to make Joel look good during the moments that he doesn't look good. Or he looks confused. Oh, he's onto something. Let's get back in here.
So up so it hits that. Now up, lift your end a bit. Spin my head right round, round. It's not me. It's just the world, baby. Here we are at the next stage of our process. All the pieces are now cut out. There was a lot of measuring, filing, grinding, late nights. It's all done and laid out here. But we're up to a very critical step in our process, and that is the valve which controls the air from the blower going into the fire pot. It either diverts it up the flue or delivers an exact amount to the fire pot that's appropriate for the amount of heat that we need in the process. Let's go check out how that actually works. All right, she's together. We have our warped wall of Ninja Warrior air catching awesomeness in here, and it is now secured inside of the sleeve that will carry the air to the next section. How good is that? It slides very neatly, has good fit. There's a little bit of movement, which is okay. We're not trying to make something super airtight, but it's enough that it moves freely, and that's the important thing. Let's see how it fits into the main structure. Oh, how good is that? Let's see if it works. Oh, slips and slides so easily. That's what you want. That's gonna work great. Now we're just gonna tack everything together, weld it all up, and we're only a few steps away from installing it and getting that fire going. Man, I'm keen for that. Okay, so we're almost at the end of assembling all of the components for our air ducting system. we've come across a little problem. It has to do with our air mechanism. Now, while it worked pretty well when it was separate and worked pretty well in all the setup and the tacking and everything, somehow something inside of here is causing it to stick. Works well at the bottom section, but at the top it gets stuck. And now this is where we can learn a little bit of a lesson about crafting and life. See, we could go, well, you know, she's good enough, mate, she'll be right. Like, we just need to get on with the process of finishing off this project and getting on to forging, which is true. But here's the thing, if we don't rectify this problem now and address it where it is at, it's gonna bite us in the bum continuously for the rest of IronCrown history, and our failure to address this in this moment will be a constant reminder to us of what it means not to take the extra time and effort to do things right. So instead of skipping over the problem, I'm gonna have to do the painful task of grinding off all of these welds, taking it apart, identifying what the problem is, and getting it back together so it's working. Alright, we're almost ready to install our air system, but there's one last thing we need to do before we fire up the forge, and that is create a leverage system that enables us to adjust the valve mechanism that we just installed to control the air from the blower to the forge. To do this, we're gonna just chuck the Firepot and the system in place, get a few measurements, do a little bit of math, and then fabricate up something that's gonna do the job. I'll show you guys what I come up with once I get it done. So let's go do that.